What up, Colorado State fans? The Rams are going dancing, and we are going to the Annapolis. Hopefully, you get that joke. If you don't, probably going to flop, but that's okay. Big day for CSU fans. CSU receives a 6 seed, going to face number 11 Michigan in Indianapolis on Thursday. Have not seen a time yet, but I will get that out as soon as I have the information available. First things first, I mean, I just think everybody can collectively just take a deep breath and relax. I mean, I understand that the last 36-ish hours have been kind of uneasy. I mean, CSU, they've been spurred through this process before. Selection Sunday typically not been very kind to CSU, but they ended up really coming out well, in my opinion. I mean, this is a decent draw. I will get into the matchup. We're going to talk about Nico Medved signing an extension. Michael Gallup actually just got a new deal with the Dallas Cowboys as well. So all things coming up big for CSU. First things first, I got to shout out our homies over at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're ready to feel the excitement of the conference championships like never before, turn your team's victory into your own big win with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win. Get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. Illinois listeners, we have some big news. Mobile registration is back. Right now, you can sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook simply by downloading the app right to your phone. If the Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, get in on the action with the DraftKings pools. Everyone can play for free all March long for a shot at over $250,000 in prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code DNVR. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win. Get 200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with the promo code DNVR this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Restrictions to apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Whew, man. I just couldn't help but think how much better I felt going into Selection Sunday today than I did last year. And obviously, that was the goal. Nico Medved said it post-game after the loss to San Diego State. They were competitive. They wanted to win the Mountain West tournament. I saw some kind of ridiculous tweets, guys, some chicken little ass tweets. The sky was falling when CSU lost to San Diego State. And I didn't understand it. One, San Diego State, a really good team, top 3 in terms of defensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm, a ton of length. They give everybody trouble. It's just what they do. CSU, it comes down to the wire. They lose a tight game and everyone's like, oh man, they're going to be a 12 seed. They're a play-in game. No, they're a 6 seed. They get the highest seed in the Mountain West because of their non-conference resume. Now, obviously, I will say, to me, it seems like the sweep over Boise State was very much respected by the committee, which is interesting because head-to-head doesn't always seem to matter with the committee, but it did this time with Boise State getting the 8 seed. 4-bid Mountain West is official, which is really cool for the league. Number 8, Boise State will take on number 9, Memphis. That is in Portland. Cool that it's close. You're going to imagine you can get some Boise State fans out there, but a tough draw going against Penny Hardaway's squad. That's actually who beat them in the NIT last year. They beat CSU in the NIT as well. Wyoming, man, they were nervous, but they got in a play-in game. They are going to take on Indiana and Dayton. That'll be the first 4 on Wednesday night. Should be a fun matchup. That's a winnable matchup for Wyoming. All rivalries aside, I'm really happy that Wyoming made the NCAA tournament. They deserved it. If you were watching along, you could see the look on their faces when some of those other teams started to get in, and the vibes were not looking good. I couldn't help but feel for them. These teams all deserve to go. And ultimately, I just, while it's fun to root against each other and be petty, it would have been a travesty if a team as talented as that Pokes team didn't make the tournament. I mean, Maldonado, Ike, these are the kind of guys that we want to see in the tournament. Dussel, Jeffries, it's going to be fun. Number 8, San Diego State takes on number 9, Creighton in Fort Worth. Also kind of a tough matchup, in my opinion. Creighton's really come on strong. I will say, the injuries with Creighton does make this a little bit appealing for San Diego State. The fact that you get an 8 seed, same with Boise State, is always tough because, look, if you win, your award is advancing to play a 1 seed. And obviously CSU has felt this in the past when they lost to Louisville for their now vacated national championship. But ultimately, if you want to make a run, you're going to have to beat good teams no matter what. So ultimately, you just got to get in. And these 4 Mountain West teams, they got in. CSU, Michigan, tough draw in Indianapolis. It's a Big Ten team in a Big Ten city, and I'm going to dive kind of into this matchup a little bit. I'm going to have some Michigan people on the pod in the coming days to get a more in-depth, conversation on the Wolverines. But just the fact that you are going against a Big Ten team in a Big Ten city is a little bit alarming. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably going to be a home game for Michigan. I hope the Ram fans can travel from a location standpoint. Probably second or third best option. I mean, San Diego or Fort Worth probably would have been a little bit more convenient for CSU fans, but it's centrally located. They've got a lot of housing in Indy or hotel options. You know what I mean? It should be okay. Yeah, I mean, I just don't have complaints. I saw our buddy Mitchell Carroll, who does some of the merge stuff in DNVR Rapids. He was like, this is a brutal draw for CSU. They're playing Michigan in a Big Ten city. 100% agree. But also, I'm just like, man, we're a 6 seed. It is what it is. You're going to have to beat some good teams. If you win, you're going to have to play Tennessee. That's really hard. Like, you would have got Tennessee in the opening round, then I would have been complaining. This Michigan team, though, I don't know. They 17-14 overall, 11-9 in conference play, finished 7th in the Big Ten, got bounced by Indiana in the opening round of the Big Ten tournament, 4-5 over the last 9 games. Now, you got to add that there was some drama worked in there with the whole Juwan Howard situation. Your coach gets suspended. Yeah, maybe that's why they lost a couple of games. But to me, that's also kind of the sign of an uncomposed program. They never won more than 3 games in a row at any point this season. They came into the year, with all the attention. They're number 6 in the AP poll. By November 29th, they were all the way down to 24th. They haven't been in the top 25 December on. I mean, yeah, you're worried about Hunter Dickinson, a true 7'1" center. This dude's a beast. He goes for 18 and 8 a night. He's the kind of guy that can, single-handedly really disrupt a game plan. And obviously CSU, their average height 6'4", Michigan 6'6" is their average height. That's a big difference. They're going to be able to clog up the lanes kind of similarly to what you saw from San Diego State. That said, they don't buy in, as consistently as San Diego State. So we'll see, there. But ultimately, I feel like this is a matchup that the Rams can win. And ultimately, I believe in the mindset and the demeanor of this team more than anything. The talent matters. But being able to stay composed and win in tight games is really, that's the key to having success in the NCAA tournament. And Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated was out there in Vegas at the Mountain West tournament. And he actually wrote a really good article on it, just kind of talking about how, you don't want to count out these Mountain West teams in the NCAA tournament because they've had to play in so many tight games consistently. I mean, it's just been a gauntlet. You look at the CSU Boise State games, both of them came down to the wire. CSU Wyoming, both of them came down to the wire. You have a really tight game against San Diego State. You have one blowout, that's the wire, or the one outlier. But really, I mean, between all these 4 teams, it was just a gauntlet. And that's not even when you factor in, the UNLVs and New Mexico's and Fresno States and Utah States of the world. I mean, these teams, they're battle tested. They played in hostile environments. They've been playing in tight games all year. I think that's really going to benefit CSU. I mean, you've seen some of these Power 5 teams, man, they didn't schedule up as hard. And obviously you don't need to as much when you're a Power 5 team because you're going to get the benefit of the doubt, which is not the case when you're CSU. And that's why it was great to see them schedule up and to see it all play out. And I'm writing a feature on that, as we speak, just the fact that they had a plan, they executed, it worked out. It was great coaching, great scheduling. Shout out to Aaron Katsuma of CSU men's basketball, the man behind the scenes. He does all of that. He deserves just immense praise because this was an awesome schedule. Even the games they lost, like if they would have got that Alabama game in, you're probably looking at a potential 5 seed if you're CSU. And man, that would have been incredible. But I'm just happy that everything worked out. I feel like as CSU fans, it's so easy to immediately just assume the worst. And then kind of going back to that Chicken Little reference, I get it. We've been through this so many times we've had our heart broken. Last year we did a live show during Selection Sunday, and I live had to watch CSU get screwed and not make the tournament, and you guys got to just bask in my misery. I mean, I get it, but this year was different. It was always different. They scheduled up, the metrics were in their favor, the resume was always strong, and we saw it played out. Would it have been awesome to win the Mountain West tournament too? Yes. Would it have been cool to win the Mountain West championship? Absolutely. you're in the conference. You want to win the ring, but ultimately it's all about the NCAA tournament. And now they have a chance to potentially, really do something special here. And I'm so excited. Like I said, I am going to have, a couple of people on from national outlets throughout the week to just kind of get a more in-depth preview of Michigan, people that were watching the Big Ten regularly. But I really like this matchup for the Rams. Again, you got to worry about Hunter Dickinson. I will say, I feel like this is going to be a huge game for CSU's bigs. James Moores in particular really struggled in that game against San Diego State, probably his worst performance of the season. It's a really tough matchup. I'm not trying to dwell on it or beat a guy, when he's down after a tough game, but this is going to be a big test for him and Roddy and DT as well. I mean, like I said, 7'1" center and Hunter Dickinson. It's not something you go up against every day. We saw CSU trying to go up against Neemias Queta in the Mountain West quarterfinals last year. He really, really ruined their day, 9 blocks. So, when you are a smaller team, it can be tricky. It can be tricky, but we have seen CSU deal with guys like Orlando Robinson and with guys in the past. So it's not a reason to panic. A couple other things I would look at. Michigan's guards, Eli Brooks, Devontae Jones. Brooks hit some pretty big shots in the NCAA tournament last year. You just senior guards. You always got to be worried about senior guards. And just the experience of having been through the NCAA tournament before, I think that's big for this Michigan team. But kind of off of that, I was thinking about it. As much as it hurt for CSU to not make the NCAA tournament last year, I kind of think that in the long run, it worked out for the best because I'm not so sure that team last year was ready to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Maybe they get in, probably get bounced, go one and done. Instead, you have the heartbreak. You go into the NIT really determined, and they end up getting to play 4 really difficult and challenging postseason games. You're going up against Curtis Lofton of Louisiana Lafayette and, Memphis and Penny Hardaway and all their 5-star players. And just some of these teams, I feel like CSU, they grew from it and they came into this season more composed. They were ready. They were determined, obviously, not to get, left out of the field again. But I don't know, maybe it's easy for me to say it this way, now, like, hindsight's always 2020, but there is a big part of me that thinks as frustrating as it was to not make the field last year, I think they grew from it. I think they benefited from it. And, I don't know. Sometimes I roll my eyes with stuff like that. It's like, when would you rather go undefeated or lose? Obviously, you'd rather go undefeated, but you can really learn more in a loss than you can in a win at times. And I don't know. I just think that the heartbreak kind of at this team where they needed to be. And now between that and, the everything that they gained in the non-conference league going against teams like Creighton and St. Mary's and Mississippi State and Oral Roberts and Max Aisman, the Sweet 16 darling from last year. And then adding on everything that you gained in the Mountain West and surviving this crazy schedule and having to go toe-to-toe with all these talented teams. I just think they're ready. I really think this team is ready. And, anything can happen. They might get bounced in the first round. And if they lose, it doesn't change how special this season has been. I talked about it after the San Diego State game. You are not defined by 40 minutes of action. You're defined by your collective resume and everything that you've accomplished, and everything that this team has accomplished this season has been special. I hope that they continue. I hope that they build a run off of this. But I mean, to just even be in this place is special. First time they made the NCAA tournament in 9 years. 9 years, guys. I remember being a junior and sophomore in high school and a junior in high school and watching these runs and thinking like, man, I would love to go to CSU. Remember thinking like, whoa, what would it be like to experience that Moby magic, the Moby madness? There were a few moments, the Gian Clavel years, Stan Kidd, JJ Avila. CSU had some talent. They weren't bad teams, but it was nothing like this year. I will remember this season for as long as I live. And if they go on and do something in the NCAA tournament, it's only going to amplify that even more. But it's just been special. And today has been incredible. Like, between the NCAA tournament and Nico Medved signing an extension, which I'm going to talk about here momentarily, and now Michael Gallup getting a deal. I mean, what more can you ask for? Not much. I'm I'm enjoying the ride, and I hope that all of you are too. And the reason I bring this up is because, like I said, they may ultimately lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. You never know. You're playing a talented team from the Big Ten in a Big Ten city. They've got, a couple of NBA guys. You just never know. So you just have to appreciate the ride. I want to add that in. I'm confident. I feel like CSU is gonna perform well in this game, but just got to appreciate the journey. All right, let's transition real quick and talk about this extension for Niko Medved, conveniently announced right before Selection Sunday. I'm gonna have to, get a column out on this, talk about it. I'll dive into it, more in depth later once I can really look at the figures. But they get this extension done through 28-29. His salary goes up slightly. They add a bunch of incentives in there, and you got a nice little buyout in case the bigger schools try to come in. It's what you got to do, man. Like, ultimately, there's always going to be bigger schools. There's always going to be bigger athletic departments with blank checks and bigger resources. It just is what it is when you are in the Mountain West. What you can do, though, if you're CSU, is you can show that you're trying to back him. You got to prove your commitment, that you're determined to win, that you don't just want a moment in the sun here. You're not trying to capture lightning in a bottle. You're trying to sustain this. You're trying to build a program that can compete at a high level long term. And obviously having a great coach helps that. If somebody in the Big Ten comes along and offers them $3 million, CSU's not going to have that type of dough. But I don't think he's going to leave for just anything. It's interesting. We have seen instances before where coaches sign extensions and they still leave that same cycle. It's nothing is ever in stone. But the fact that CSU is willing to commit to him is big. I think it increases the chances that he sticks around and doesn't dip. And off of that, if he does, it would be really, really disappointing. He's a great coach. I love, working around him. I love everything he's done for the program. But you can, as a university, then say, look, we're committed to winning. We did our part. And all of a sudden, you look like a pretty attractive, option around the country for great coaches. And, personally, I've always said, if Medved were to move on, I would highly consider promoting Ali Farokhmanesh. But, I just think the fact that you're being committed to winning, you're putting your money where your mouth is, that's all you can do, when you're CSU. At the end of the day, there's always bigger schools. There's always people with more resources than you. What you can do is try. And that's what they're doing. They're swinging big. They're going for it, both football and basketball. Look, man, this can be a sleeping giant. We all know everything that CSU has to offer institutionally. I'm very encouraged, man. This is the most encouraged I've been about the future of CSU athletics and maybe ever. I mean, you'd probably have to go back to when I was a little kid and didn't really know what I was talking about, but I don't know, man. I think it's really good to be a freaking CSU fan right now. And I can't say how many times in my life I've been able to say that genuinely. I mean, you're always proud to be. We always bleed green and gold. We always love CSU. We're always going to support this school, this program. But, we all, when you go 3-9, when you're going 500 in college basketball, yeah, you're going to defend your school when someone else talks. But are you out there saying it with your chest, or, you out there, confidently, talking trash? It's a completely different state. And the vibes are incredible right now. I couldn't be happier. I know I'm all over the place right now. It's just so many good things. I'm like, oh, and I'm excited about this, and I'm excited about this, and this too. Speaking of which, let's talk about Michael Gallup just briefly. He got a 5-year extension, $62 million, according to Adam Schefter. Nice little deal for MG coming off of the torn ACL. I was worried he wasn't going to get a new contract, but former CSU Ram, they're investing in him long term. I mean, I think he has the potential to be a really solid number 1, number 2 wide receiver in this league. He's obviously got phenomenal ball skills. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just wanted to shout him out and just talk about all the good things that are happening at CSU right now. I mean, this isn't going to be a long show. Like I said, I am going to do another podcast that kind of breaks everything down in depth. I'm going to talk with some Michigan guys. I am going to write about the matchup. I'm going to dive into all of it, but I just wanted to go live and kind of, embrace this moment with all of you and just recognize how cool this day really is. I mean, yeah, what a day. Shout out to my guy, Nicholas Toffelmeyer, who since April 2019 has been posting the same photo of Adam Thistlewood every single day. Didn't miss one day, every day until they made the NCAA tournament. That day is today. Today is special for people like Nicholas Toffelmeyer, for people that remember what it was like when Moby was a morgue. Now, we're a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament, 5 straight sellouts, respected on a national level. David Roddy is a national name in college basketball at this point. And Isaiah Stevens, some of these other guys have a chance to be as well. It's incredible. And I hope you can all enjoy this, because as heartbreaking as sports tend to be year in and year out, these special moments, these are the ones that stick with you. Like I said, I mean, those NCAA tournament runs made me want to go to CSU. Like, I grew up following CSU, but that's what affirmed my decision. Yeah, I want to go experience that. I want to be on that campus. I want to be a part of that community, that culture. And it's been a brutal stretch. It's been a really tough decade up to this point between football and basketball too. I mean, the embarrassment of everything that happened with the Eustachy scandals and academic ineligibility and him threatening the players, and obviously, football and everything that went wrong in the Bobo and Adazio eras. We're now at a point where it feels good. It feels exciting. I don't even know what to do with my hands right now. I'm like Ricky Bobby in an interview. I don't know what to do with my hands, because that's how excited I am. And I know all of you are too. And I want to thank you all for following my content all season. Thank you for reading that feature I wrote on Chandler Jacobs out in Vegas. Go check it out. We are going to have all kinds of content for you throughout the NCAA tournament. I've still got more features I'm working on from interviews I did in Vegas. It's fun. It's genuinely just fun to be a CSU fan right now. And I hope you guys enjoy this night. I hope you guys party. I hope you call everyone you know. I hope you go put on your Rams gear. I hope you text your Buffs fans in your life. No offense to you guys. Would have been cool to see you get in the tourney too. But hey, tonight, it's all about the CSU Rams. Shout out to all of you. I will be out there in Indianapolis. I cannot wait. It's going to be a blast. Enjoy this night, Ram Nation. Enjoy it. I'll be back.